And we're back. Time for some... Yeah, I'm in a rush to finish this game. Hold on. Let's check something. Alright, the Sidha. Two identical women seem to fade into view as they move away from the great trees that camouflage them. A second. They're triads? Their skin is tree bark, rigid and scaly, wreathed in a curling tangle of roots, buds, and blooms. Their hair hangs beneath the shade of serrated leaves, like the drooping branches of the elms above, and the pupils of their eyes are encircled by hundreds, or even thousands of concentric rings, as if to mark the accumulated wisdom of millennia. Okay, so for people who don't know, trees get a ring every year. When you cut them down, you can count the rings to see how old.
Turn around, flesh creature. Outsiders are not permitted to approach the elms.
Oh, he speaks.
Do you not feel it, sister? Something familiar. An ancient soul, like the other one. Another
Like the
defiler,
other one.
no doubt. Let us fell him and be troubled no more.
Whoa,
He would
whoa.
pay the debt of his predecessor.
Well, what? We're just gonna murder me?
So it would seem, Rhiannon. But we must not hasten to judgment.
Oh, Sid has the more reasonable
I see a
one.
different motive here. Different questions in these eyes.
What of it, young trespasser? Is it as my sister says? Or are you here to stain this place with foul deeds?
I seek a man who came through here. Sounds as though you have already met
There!
him.
By his own admission, Sheetha.
Really, sister? And you wonder why your leaves begin to fall out before midsummer. Clearly that man did not want to be followed. Whatever the relationship here, I suspect it is anything but cordial. The answer is yes, old one.
That was sorry.
We crossed paths with Theos not long ago, and we can tell you where he went. But I find it curious that anyone would seek him out. Suspicious, even. If we are to help you find him, we would know why.
Stopping in
So
my
that
enemy
is the
was
reason
like-
he passed this way. This is low, even for the leaden key.
They know about
I
the well.
told you we should have confronted him, Sheetha. He
So
has
they've
always
known him
been
before.
a poison.
He has always been a
It would have been the last thing we ever did, sister. Who can be said to have ever gotten the better of Theos?
It's true. He's pretty strong.
Yes, but imagine how much fun it would have been. Can't you just picture him all strung up in vines like an angry little puppet?
Yeah, well, you
But
guys
that's
would've-
not what this is really about, is it? You are bound to that man.
got creepy triads questioning me. A second.
I see it now. You are awakened. Your soul is awake, and something once buried deep now wells to the surface. Past overwhelms
Whoa,
present.
wait, what?
Closes in around
No
you.
one told me about this.
Your
My
time
time's about
has
to run out.
nearly reached its end.
I just need to get to
I'm
Theos.
sorry to tell you this, but Theos cannot give you what you seek. Nor can any man. An awakening cannot be undone, any more than your past can be undone.
So this has all been for nothing, and I'm going to lose my mind. Okay, so there's more things at stake.
The
than just
soul
my
is
sanity.
formless without a past to shape it. Did you truly expect to be able to wipe it away?
I would
That is the penance we all pay. But penance cannot be paid for a past only known in fragments and glimpses. However, as much as my sister speaks truly that there is no way back from an awakening, there may yet be a way forward. Would you agree, Sheetha?
Sheeta. God damn,
I
this is
would.
weird.
Were the way not so likely to end in death.
What
The
is-
man Theos you must already know by now. You are linked by a common past. Something about
We have to
it
kill Theos
lingers
anyway
within you,
to-
festering, unresolved. What it is I cannot see any more than you. And without that knowledge, your doom is certain.
What's all this doom and gloom, guys?
But were you to learn the source of this discord, perhaps it could be put to rest. Though it is equally possible it will trouble
I
you
don't
as
know. This
much
sounds like
now
a bit too
as
Deus
it
Ex
did
Machina.
then, and merely
Like I just
speed
gotta
your
do
condition to
my
its
past
end.
self's unfinished business. My past comes to me in pieces. How do I unlock the rest?
You might wait for it to come on its own, of course. But when it comes, it will replace your sanity's last breath. Such is the nature of your condition.
Wait, I didn't realize it always led to insanity. That's pretty crazy.
Or you could learn it from someone who already knows.
Well, would he remember?
It is said the gods made his memory perfect, that he may never forget his charge. If he ever knew, he still does.
Not that he would tell you, of course.
You have followed the right person for the wrong reason, it seems. We see it often beneath the elms. The soul dragging mind and body to unknown
Well, that's a
places
pretty
for
horrible fight.
unfathomable reasons.
I could have fought him hundreds of
You
times
may
and
have
just
wandered into
lost
Theos'
without
path
knowing
many
why.
times, in many lifetimes, without an awakening to show you why.
This lifetime we just got lucky.
The only thing that's certain is you did not find what you sought.
You said you knew where he went.
He has gone down beneath the tower to a place older than we, where the people of Engwith once walked. He makes his way to the buried city, Sun and Shadow.
May he stay down there and rot with the remains
So
of
he
his
is an
people.
England.
He may yet. He won't be returning the way he came, that much is certain. He opened a secret path in the tower's base, and saw it destroyed behind him through some vile means.
We know of one. On the burial
Well,
isle.
what a
through the
coincidence.
court
We
of the
gotta go through the
penitents,
most sacred,
Grayeth Yaman. A shortcut, in
the most
fact.
sacred island of their tribe. Wonderful. It's nice.
Don't be cruel, sister. The way my sister speaks of is not for the faint of heart. A great pit at the center of a forgotten court, where faiths were judged in place of crimes. To most, it is simply a gateway to death. With the help of the gods,
What the
it
hell?
can take you where you want to
Wait,
go.
there's confirmed existence
The pit
of
is
gods
said
here.
to have been a means of judgment by the gods. Those cast into it are meant to die. It is that way you must pass to reach Sun and Shadow.
Oh,
The court is old. We do not know much for certain,
okay. I gotta get
but
the
it would
gods on
seem
my
only
side.
the gods themselves can grant passage.
What is this
No
court?
more than a ruin now. It is older than we. A place for the trial of heretics. We were not here to witness it, but at one time there was a group that refused to acknowledge the gods. Neither the first nor the last, of course, but these were numerous and all put on trial for it. Those who did not repent were cast into the pit and imprisoned
Wait,
below.
is that what we had to do with... Does that have to do with my past?
The fall killed them, of course. The prison was not for people, but for their souls, and their sentences were eternal.
Huh.
It is said that many of the condemned repented and were permitted by the gods to ascend from the pit, so long as they pledged their service
Wait,
to
there's
one of
a
them.
there's a
these
guaranteed
are
way to
old
communicate
legends.
with the gods in this world. How would I ever
Behind
get
us
the
is
gods to
Ter
help me?
Evron, said to pierce the shroud itself, and a place of communion with all gods. If ever there was a time for prayer, you have found it.
So the only way to get through this pit is to pray for help.
Not the only way. Just the only one that doesn't end with your body impaled on jagged rocks.
And who would I pray to? Any god you can, I should think.
I would pray first to those gods you like best. I hope for your sake the feeling is shared.
Is there no other way?
None.
Well, none that you know, right?
Ter Evron is also called the Hall of Stars, and the stars show us the allegiances of the gods. When stars are in conjunction, we know the gods they represent are aligned as well.
That's really convoluted way.
You should choose a place to pray where you'll be closest to those you want to hear you. If a god stands alone, you should pray to that god. If they band together, you should address them all. Choose your words wisely, for all gods expect proper homage, and none has patience for fools.
Oh, well, they are as strong as we see.
What do you wish to know?
How did you know I
The
was
same
pursuing
way that
Theos?
you are no doubt able to peer into the ether and experience the souls of others. It is something we are born with, some more, some less. A gift common to many creatures of the wilds.
count yourself as a creature of the
You
wild?
share certain similarities with the man you pursue. For your sake, I pray they are few and of no consequence.
Alright, you mentioned that people came to these elms without knowing why. A soul has a will of its own. Its needs and whims are seldom understood, but they follow them all the same. Alright, this is something that kind of convolutes the mythology of this world.
There is something about this place that reaches beyond our understanding. Something like a beacon. The elms have a way of uniting souls that have been seeking one another, with or without their
just
owner's awareness.
Convenient plot shit. Alright.
Sometimes it is for love, sometimes for vengeance, sometimes for peace. Often it is for no reason we will ever know. In your case, let us hope it is for peace.
Or vengeance.
I want to know the two
There's
of you.
little to be said about us, for we are bound here, caretakers and defenders of this place. Our journey has been over time, but not distance.
So they can't leave this place.
Measured in observations, but not experiences. We have seen the elms grow tall. We have seen cities built, burned, and built again. The only constant has been the tower, a silent companion through the ages. You can imagine why this recent destruction has stirred my sister so.
Oh, I suppose so. Alright.
If you do nothing else, make that man pay for what he did here.
Very well.
We will tell you what we can. Before you go, tell me this, old one. I'm curious. If you were to subdue your enemy, what would you do with him? What would give you peace?
I wish to undo the harm
You
he's
would need
caused.
to have twice as many lifetimes as he to repair his savage work.
Perhaps there are strides you can make.
All the same, think on this matter. Be assured in your course. In the end, it may mean all the difference, not just to his soul, but to yours.
Okay.
And be warned. Some questions have answers that can never be learned, and it is those that trouble the soul above all others. May you find an answer to yours.
That's it? They just walk
I'm
off?
ready.
Huh. That's interesting. Give me a second. Let's do some fun stuff. Alright. Alright, well, I successfully convinced the tree people
I'm ready.
that it's fine. How did you guys get past here? Where the hell is this? Oh, you guys really like dwelling in caves. Please all the gods now.
I'm ready.
Keeper. Dwarven man, Keeper Garost. The dwarven man stands motionless near the roaring fire that lights the cavern. Your sacrifice feeds the land, supplicants. Come forth. A gust of smoke curls around him, licking the charred flesh that bulges on his forearms. He suddenly flex. Estromor. The dwarf holds his fist in a tight grip. Your kin doesn't come here to share with the tribes. What do you want? What's this place? Blood sands. The dwarf picks on his scarred forearm. His guttural sigh mingles with the crackling of wood and bones behind him. As I said, Estromor would rarely visit our halls. The Glamfappins call this place Blood Sands. We call it home. The ethnic Knoll have tended the land from within this cave since before the arrival of the tribes to Twin Elms. Garos crosses his arms. Be warned, Estromor. We bleed life to nurture it. Our sacrifices may strike you as savage, but the health of these lands depends on them, and it's unseemly for guests to insult their hosts. Tell me about the sacrifices. Garos spreads his stocky legs apart and locks his forearms. Everything must die to return anew, Estromor. Through the sacrificial rites, we offer supplicants the honor of giving their most precious gift back to their brethren, back to the land. Is this some kind of Aztec human sacrifice shit? Like, this is kind of what it is, right? The dwarf lifts his fist, thick and mottled by red scars. The blood gives us strength. Even the Glenfaffins have come to depend on the blood paint. They brim with power before battle, all thanks to the sacrifices of their kin. I tell you, our order has thrived for generations. Before we came to Twin Elms, our rights fed the lands of the eastern mountains. Now we share blood for your Glenfaff. To everything that must end, our sacrifices bring a new beginning. He looks up. We sustain what's to come. Remember, Estromor, you're a guest in these halls. Respect our ways, and we'll tolerate your presence among us.
I'm ready.
Okay, so lesson learned. You're gonna see some pretty gnarly shit here, probably.
Need something?
I mean,
I'm ready.
there's no great honor than dying for one's tribe. If some fall in battle, how is this different? Wow, okay. So this is voluntary, pretty much. This is voluntary. Keep her working.
Estromor.
The elderly dwarf blinks at you, not quite looking at you. Her eyes are pale and clouded with cataracts. Welcome to Blood Sands. It is rare that an Estromor sets foot in these caverns. Her sightless eyes fix on you as she tilts her head. What brings you here, I wonder? What do you do here? I sail and maintain certain goods for the preservation of our order, and I perform some of our ritual sacrifices. Something more. How do these sacrifices work? Like any worthwhile ritual, it's too complex to explain in detail. It involves clotting the supplicant's essence, binding it to their life's blood, and drawing it into a container and vessel. This is the raw, bloody heart of Ir Glenfaff, where some come to give their essence back to their people. Her dry lips bend into a sardonic grin, where others seek a noble escape from their trials. The legacy of the builders to the tribes was not merely Adrian stone, but a sense of community. And it is here that Glenfaffins come to sacrifice what is most precious, even their own lives, to preserve it. Oh, flask of war paint. Damn, this is expensive. Binding the essence of sacrificed lives into a potent brew of blood and magic. It's made by the blood of human sacrifice. That's pretty hardcore. Oh, good.
I'm ready.
Oh, what is this? This requires sacrifice. The bravest sons and daughters fall not by the swords of Estromor, but by the daggers of their brethren.
I'm ready.
We're supposed to read the... Whoa! See bloody footprints. These halls are not for the weak of spirit. Alright. We'll talk to this archdruid. What the hell? Oh, we got a cutscene.
As your blood flows, so shall your essence. Your life's energy shall feed the soil, and your soul's energy shall enrich the community. This is by your own choosing, supplicant?
Yes. The elf's voice is high but even. The dwarf grips a hatchet with both hands and raises it over his head. He throws his shoulders forward and swings the weapon into the elf's chest, connecting with a meaty thump. Blood gushes around the blade, and the sacrifice's screams rend the air. Erebos' hand clutches his chest as his eyes widen in amazement. I did say I wanted to see the teachings of other druids, but I think I was imagining more, dried herbs and chanting? We never did that in my circle back home. Never. Despite his earlier agreement, the elf thrashes atop the stone table, his torso arcing while his arms and legs remain tied in place. Meanwhile, the dwarf spreads his arms wide and allows blood to splatter his robes. When the elf is finally silent and still, the dwarf pulls his hatchet from the body and wipes it on his head. The dwarf wears crimson robes that are stained and streaked with dark patches. His face is smooth, but lacking youthful elasticity. It's as if the lines and wrinkles have been formed and erased many times over. He watches you with eyes like two black pits as he wipes his hatchet on his robes. Hail, Astrum.
No one comes to Blood Sands without a purpose.
Who are you?
I am the Archdruid of the Ethic Null. For centuries it has been my duty to guide our rituals and guard our
Okay.
knowledge.
So I'm
It is
assuming he
work
got
that requires a certain
a long
resilience,
life because of that.
but it is not without its benefits.
Tell me more about that thing. No. We are a druidic order that has been in Twin Elms since Angwithan times. Our founders came here from the White Marsh, seeking a place where we might practice our beliefs in peace, as it were. Unlike most of our Glanfafan brethren, we seek answers in the world around us rather than the teachings of the gods. We believe that all life has power, and that this power can be siphoned and conducted. We are not, as some suggest, madmen and murderers. All of our rituals are conducted with willing participants, and through methods that have been tested and refined over centuries. He nods, his black eyes shining. This allows us to create the war paint for which we are respected, if not loved. I want to know about your sacrifices. Guttural laugh rumbles from his throat. We merely believe that, in giving up something of value, the energy from that sacrifice can be diverted elsewhere. It is not so different from what folk practice all over the world. If you want to turn the soil, sail a ship, or move a cart, you must expend energy. We're going to physics now? He smooths his robes. We're best known for our practice of sacrifice. This is the most potent form of sacrifice, because it releases the most energy. We distill the essence of an entire soul into raw power that can strengthen the body, fortify the soul, and extend life. Well, extends his own. What's war paint? A special unguent, binding raw essence to the wearer. It grants incredible advantages in combat, and has made us indispensable to the tribes. Whatever they say about our practices, almost all of them have made use of our war paint at some time or another. A slow smile spreads across his face. Fascinating indeed, how the most strident objections can be overcome by circumstance. Well, I mean, you can certainly see that kind of situation coming up, right? Because if you're about to lose a war and all your people are about to die, well, can you afford to not turn to this black magic, basically? Alright, how are you different from the Ovits of Golden Grove? A dry laugh rasped from his throat. I remember when Arona came up with that name. Gives you a darkly gleeful look. Used to be as green as the rest of the forest, you know? We're more similar than they like to admit. We both believe in achieving power without the double-edged aid of the gods. But their fantasy is pure creation, something from nothing. They blind themselves to the fact that all life, from the mightiest dragon to the slimmest blade of grass, requires death. And the greatest ends require the greatest sacrifice. Some sacrifices are too costly. Many agree with you, and many float from one life to the next, living out a finite stock of years and accomplishing nothing. So, well, didn't want to go too crazy. You know, there's all the supporters right there.
I understand.
What is this? Essence within to nurture flesh, and essence without to strengthen it.
I'm ready.
What is this?
I'm ready.
Yeah, right. Like, if you have such a powerful weapon, if you can, this war paint can really make you so much stronger. Huh? How do I get in there?
And the fire shows me something new.
Oh.
I'm ready.
Alright, well, we got one of them. Whoa. Enchanted in here? The gift of sacrifice transmutes blood into water, and essence into power. What does this say? The blood of sacrifice waters the soil of your Glanfaf.
I'm ready.
Okay. So there's probably one more. Naka, who is this? The petitioner before you is swaddled in loose-fitting robes. Her hair is greasy and matted. A glossy film of sweat and grime coats her exposed skin. She has the swollen features of pregnancy, and several missing teeth in her big grinning smile. As you approach, she slowly turns to you and examines you from head to toe, smiling the entire time. "Joyous day to you," she says. Despite coming from a wearied body, her voice sounds resonant and relaxed. "I am Naka, midwife and lore keeper." Her hands run across the slight bulge in her belly. She rolls her head back and sighs a relaxed purr. "Are you feeling well?" "Flawless," she replies. "Apologies, I should be left to my meditation. The rite of strength is invigorating, almost overwhelming to the senses." She reaches down and cradles her belly in her hands and turns away.
I'm ready.
Oh. The rite of strength.
I'm ready.
Need something? Yes?
Oh, here we go. Last one. Essence taken by force may sustain one, but essence given freely empowers many.
I'm ready.
I guess that's it. Oh, she didn't even level again. Greater lay on hands. Healing's pretty good. Hold on. Dangerous implement. Oh, two-weapon style. What? Two-handed style. Well, there it is. She uses a two-handed weapon. That's where we're going. Second.
Yeah? Oh, what is it about Delumgon that gets my tree trunk blooming? My logic tells me that they don't have any good poke holes and probably kill you after copulation. Still. Yes, indeed. Ooh, I once saw one bathing. I was so startled I forgot I was in my spirit form. So I think my come hither gestures
pretty
had
weird
few
shit.
too many talents to be inviting. I'm probably lucky events transpired as they did. Delumgon are best seen and not touched. Need something?
We do so far. Comb out Groot's value. That's unusually turf response from you. What are you holding?
It's a long story, and I haven't really told it before to an outsider, so bear with me. I struggled with spirit shifting, the final rite of passage in my druidic training. I prayed to Galawain for insight, and, in the style of seekers of old, went to the forest, alone, to ask for guidance.
Okay. And what happened in the forest?
Then I got my answer. An answer at least. In the form of a vibrantly colored Stelgar that pounced from the underbrush and made a salient demonstration of its capacity to eat things 1/15th its size.
That's terrible. Thankfully.
Aye, it only cost me half my face. And for the record, the Stelgar limped home with worse. As the beast was lopping off bits of my handsomeness, I remember trying to fight back, swinging with arms too short to reach. I felt I had the energy for one last swipe at the beast's nose, and when I lashed out with a punch, my arm felt twice as massive, and my fingers sprouted talons. In a rush of power, I shifted into a mirror of my assailant. Apparently, he couldn't pick on someone his own size. By the battle's end, his severed arm
So
was
he
in my
discovered his
maw. The
shape-shifting
beast
abilities
limped away in defeat.
in the middle of combat. I thought learning the spirit shift would win me some respect. Maybe trap myself in a deer and last with a lust for little man. Alas, I might have been better off staying a novice. When I wandered back to my village, they saw my wounds and asked what happened. I showed them. The name they called my form was the Autumn Stelgar, and his mouth opens, but he hesitates for a long moment before choosing his words. They were not impressed. The Rio of my circle believes the Autumn Skelgar to be a heinous abomination. It is said that if it eats you, your soul is invariably lost. As this was my first and most intuitive form, they deemed me a carrier of evil. Even though I never so much as threatened my kin, I was ruled unfit and cast out. Kiribos sighs, scratching his scarred face. I don't know what message Galawain was trying to send. The only lesson I learned was that the Seeker God will punish you for seeking. You didn't choose your spirit shaping form? Nope. It chose me, or so I imagine. I always assumed I was shifted into a stoat. Seems more true to my nature. He points to the embossed pattern of whale on his eye patch. As the obscured teaches. When the answer is inscrutable, one must be content to ponder the question. Are you usually recognized as a proper druid? No, but I know I passed an initiation rite 5 times more perilous than any of those kin betrayers that insisted I was a failure. Can you learn to bear shift into something less terrifying? Already can, and sometimes do, he says with a being smile that quickly returns to a scowl. But the druids of my circle assign great meaning to one's first form. I'll always be unclean to them.
Well, if you don't know me, you can't trust me. And if you can't trust me, odds are low you'll leap in front of a flying arrow to save my life.
Well, he knows.
I've been meaning to visit the druids of Twin Elms to see if they know more about my spirit shift.
Hey,
if our journey
guess
takes
what?
us there, perhaps they can enlighten me with more
We're
information
already
about
here.
the Autumn Stelgar. But for now, maybe we can talk about something less depressing? What would you like to know?
Galawain and Whale, huh? Tell me about your thoughts on Whale. I came to know Whale in earnest in the first year of my exile. I asked myself why Galawain would punish me for asking a question. What just and fair god would punish me for doing as he asked? Questioning why I had been mauled just drove me mad. At the height of my worry, I would have dreams where I only saw with my injured eye. My healthy eye became blind in my dreams. He lifts up the eye patch to gently itch at the socket. You catch a quick glimpse of a puckered and scarred abscess under the whale-embroidered patch. So one afternoon, I stitched a stylized eye motif on the patch. I like to think of it as my self-initiation rite into the Brotherhood of Whale. Whale is not an instructive or overbearing deity. He does not freely dispense wisdom, and expects all of us to question and explore with our own minds. Whale reminds me that curiosity is being receptive to any and all truths, not hunting for any one answer. Does praying to Whale help make sense of the Stelgar attack? His face turns flushy and laughs nervous. In a fashion, yes. Praying to the eyeless face means letting go of the fear of not knowing. The fear of not having any answers. Some days it can be challenging to embrace uncertainty, but at least Whale does not demand celibacy. Let's speak of something else. What can you tell me about Galawain? A frown overcomes his face as he ponders your question. Consider it a lapsed devotion. I will always respect the secret god, but he visited ruination on me when all I saw was knowledge, just as he taught it should be. He meshes his fingers together and flexes his digits until the joints pop and click. Galawain left his mark on me. When I see my shifted reflection, I am reminded of his presence. Galawain still inspires my fear, just not my worship. Do you think there's a possibility that Galawain's trying to help you? Albeit in strange ways. I suppose that. Maybe. His one eye squints and his face contorts into a frown. Certainly there's the chance Galawain was trying to help me by making me blind and deaf to everything on my right side. But put yourself in my paws. Do I go back and commune into the woods to ask him again and invite another attack? That would be a suicidal leap of faith to ever go asking Galawain for anything. Thank you for listening. Well,
I'm
we're
ready.
all here, right? So we got the quest. What is the quest? True to form. Find a druid who knows more about the Autumn Stelgar.
I'm
well,
ready.
okay, so I'm assuming one of these people, maybe? Keeper? This guy?
I'm
Maybe
ready.
the pregnant lady. I don't know. She seems like you should have gone something else, right? Oh, here we go. How can you see my smell? Actually, that Autumn Stelgar is in your veins. Galawain gave you ever so much, and yet you wear an eye of whale. All he's given me is ostracism, Erebus yells. His voice echoes through the cavernous expanse. His face becomes flush. I could have been useful to my tribe if my spirit form were a simple fox or crane. Powerful or not, my tribe reviles the Autumn Stelgar. To them, I am a soul-devouring monster. Don't speak to me like it's some sort of gift. Forgive my friend's temper, please. We would like to know all you can tell us. Galawain will not bless you with a second self that you do not truly need. If the Autumn Stelgar feels like an affliction, perhaps you have it backwards. Galawain gives you the tools you need to hunt. He has no cause to burden his hunters unnecessarily. I still don't... Erebos shrugs and scratches his head, shaking loose several mites and gnats. Ugh. Is there something I need to do to cure myself of this spirit form? Cure? Naka looks at Hiravas, puzzled, and mutters a few half-words. My dear child, the Autumn Stelgar is the cure. Galawain blessed you with that form so you may live in reunion. She spreads her arms in a sweeping motion. Walk about the blood sands and read the texts we have preserved in stone. They will tell you what you need to know. What do you mean by living in reunion? Her hands glide across her pregnant abdomen as she stares at you blankly. You smell Hiravas a moment before you feel his hand on your side. I don't think she's going to be of any future. Oh, further help. Let's read those scriptures like she said. The texts that line these walls. They are meditations on nature and loss, strength and sacrifice. They will make sense to your friend. Somehow I doubt that.
I'm ready.
Okay, so, well, problem. I read them all already. Now I gotta go read them again.
As souls split into multitudes, many lives come from one. The truest of power comes from sacrificing
you
the
gotta
shard
sacrifice your
to
right
return
side
its
to get
strength
this
to
power
the mother
of
stone.
the monster.
The many lives from one sounds familiar. I was taught that sometimes between death and rebirth, a soul splits perfectly in two, creating two viable souls from one. Sounds strange.
Yeah,
but it
see,
makes
that's
sense
the
when
problem.
You think
One
about
of
how the population has risen in
their
generations.
system of souls,
It's kind of a
separate
mathematical
from your
necessity
people,
that some process
creates
like this
a
is
lot
happening.
of problems in the logical life cycle of the world. Maybe the Autumn Stelgar has a very important role to play in this life cycle of souls. Sorry, I'm not eating your soul. I'm merely serving a vital role in the natural process. Hiravas rolls his eye. I see what you're getting at, but it's not making me feel better. Fungus that grows on shit has an important role in the natural order. That wouldn't make me thrilled to spirit shift into a shit blossom. Just can't shake the fear down of the shard, and my destiny is to be fed to something greater. Hiravas stares at you, wide-eyed and silent for several moments. Guess worrying won't do me any good. Let's read those other tablets. That's right.
I'm ready.
Oh, here's two.
Each generation, the Onumfoth must stand before the autumnal beast in judgment.
Autumnal
The wise
beast.
endure, passing on their strength. The weak are eaten, their souls ripped to pieces and lost for all time, removing such weakness from the cycle.
Okay.
Well, I guess maybe my tribe wasn't entirely wrong about my spirit form being some sort of soul terror. I suppose I was hoping to hear a different answer on the matter, but...
You seem so sad to have the spirit form such a legendary beast. Don't tell me you never wished for power like that. His face becomes a scowl, and he aims his one eye at you. If it meant not being ostracized, I'd have spirit shifted into a mound of weasel droppings. His anger subsides, and he looks at you for a long moment, as he attempts to put his words together. You make a fine point. I did pray to Galawain for assistance in being a better hunter. For years I've been telling myself my tribe judged me unfairly. Guess they weren't completely wrong. Well, enough pontification for the moment. I need to know more. Let's go look at those other tablets.
I'm ready.
Not here.
Is not the water sacrificed unto the plant, and the plant sacrificed unto livestock, and livestock unto man?
Looks like some weird
And the
trickle
lesser
down.
soul is sacrificed to strengthen the greater soul. The whole of our family grows stronger.
No, isn't just the same amount of strength, because you're adding the lesser one to the greater one.
I suppose I
Some
get
of
the
the-
argument. We all have to kill and eat, constantly for that matter, to live. This sounds like it's talking about the Blood Sands rituals. I wonder how, or even if, this is relevant to me.
Huh. Have you ever considered that the Autumn Stelgar may have been sacrificed to you? That Galawain was making you stronger? Hadn't occurred to me, but I did win the fight. If Galawain were truly displeased with me, I can't imagine I'd have walked away from that trial alive. I don't know. Just sounds like they're trying to justify their practices of killing people. Come on, let's see what the other tablets have to say. Okay. No, where's the last tablet? Oh, this is the main one, right? No, wait, hold on. There it is.
Upon Burial Isle, the two men meet again for the first time, though it was the last thing they did. The many-colored beast rent them both asunder. They were in death, merged, and made whole again.
This is some weird shit. All right.
Cute story. Two guys meet in the belly of a soul-eating creature. Maybe someday I'll eat two of the most insipid dear wooden lumberjacks, and they'll spend an eternity discussing beer whilst haunting my colon.
Perhaps the idea is that the Autumn Stilgar might not really destroy souls. That could be true. But I guess I don't know what to make of this. I've never, knowingly at least, eaten anyone's soul. Maybe it's a trick I've yet to learn. Lucky me. I mean, if you add what the other tablets were saying about the Stelgar judging the Anum Fafa and reuniting lesser souls and such, Hervas folds his arm and looks at you pensively. Okay, the druid was right. I did need to read these tablets. Too bad I'm still confused. It's safe to say Whale brought you to where you needed to be. You can most certainly say that, Hervas says with a smile. So, my tribe was right. The Autumn Stelgar is some sort of soul-destroying beast. But I merely borrowed the creature's form, not its reason for being. I doubt I'll change their minds about anything. It's not like I want to develop a new group of druidic peers among these artisans of sacrifice. So what now? Adding it up, I want to head to the Burial Isle. The name was mentioned in the tablets, and it's implied there might be other Autumn Stilgars there. I know now that Galawain sent his emissary to maul me for a good reason. It wasn't strictly malice, and I was sort of hoping to find out that the soul-eating talk was just rumors. Alas. He smiles a nervous grin and shrugs. Maybe I'll meet the prey Galawain wants me to hunt, or I'll find out I'm the quarry. Do you think you have some destiny to consume someone's soul? It's a notion that has always troubled me. Maybe eating souls is like fucking. I just meet the right person, instinct will take over, and I'll feel ashamed yet smug the following morning. He's a cool guy. Alright, we gotta go to Burial Isle. But first... don't we have to meet the other Anum Fafa first? We met the sixth whatchamacallit? The Draytel Stelgar. Because that warrior guy's their leader. Alright, let's go check this place out. Gotta get my rep up. Alright, what is over here? What is this? Yo, can I just take their Aegis shards? Sure, no problem. Yo, just gonna be looting them blind? No problem. Let's do this. Yo, take all their books. It's not stealing. Alright, so this is about the gods. What is this? Oh. Maybe I shouldn't have pushed that button.
I've never seen anything like this. Almost beats the same.
Okay, so there's a symbol for each of the gods, I'm assuming, right? Oh, Galawain. Let's... alright, so who's pleased with you? Hylia's quest is I gotta go clear out the shrine of her, I gotta go clear out the shrine. I don't know what these other gods want me to do, though. Let me see what whales. A piercing ring fills your ear as you near Whale's shrine. I mean, I did that thing for Whale, right? He should be happy with me. Alright, you know what? Let's save, and let's, because I don't know what to do here. I didn't do Hylia's thing yet, so I definitely can't pray to her. Rumor Guard? Oh. Oh. Prepare to recite the ritual words. Well, okay. Rimengrad is the entropy one, so all end life ends in stillness. Okay, you kneel and you close your eyes as you pray. The blackness fades to white, and a howling wind fills your ear. The vision that slowly resolves itself is of a broad frozen plain. You see a procession of elves in the distance, periodically fading into and emerging from the whiteness. They trudge over snowbanks, their heads down against the driving winds. I know this place. This is the White that went. Okay, so no, this is the people that, As they trek past you, one man bundled in furs turns his head. You headed for Noonfrost and the Frosttoon Breach too? Before you can answer, he's lumbered ahead. You follow the caravan. In a few minutes, you come to a wall of ice. Okay, we already went to Noonfrost. It disappears into the pale emptiness overhead and stretches as far as you can see in either direction. The elves stop in front of a mirror-smooth section that's framed like a temple door. It seems somehow thinner than the rest of the wall. You can't see what's on the other side, but a debilitating cold emanates from within. The elves pull pickaxes and shovels from their sealskin packs and begins hacking at the smooth ice, their implements flying through the air in swift, shining arcs. Though they throw their bodies into their labor, not one of them so much as scratches the polished ice. Yet with each blow, something bellows in the distance. Whatever that is, it's huge and angry. Sagani squints into the whiteout. It's coming our way. Pelagia's head whips around to see where the bellowing is coming from. Forget about the elves. We need to be ready to move. She turns again to face you, flexing her hands in the cold air. Or fight. The elves hack away, seeming oblivious to the furious blowing and the tremors under your feet. The snow is riven to your knees. Your legs feel frozen in the drifts, trying to get the elves' attention. You grab the nearest elf by her shoulders, shaking her and yelling over the howling winds. You point in the direction of the booming noise, but she only scowls. Leave us, traveler. We need to get through. We can't stay on this side any longer. But you haven't even shipped the ice. I know. That's why we gotta keep working. Okay. Let's wait it out. You watch as the elves continue to work at the ice. They pay no heed to the rumbling roar of the numbing wind. Their movements, however, gradually slow. They labor at the ice with arduously sluggish movements until they finally freeze in place. Some mid-swing and others preparing for the next blow. You touch the elf nearest to you, and he crumbles into a mound of snow. A final gale blows past, scattering the remains of the elves in a chaotic fury. You notice a single spiderweb crack in the smooth barrier. It's the only thing that mars the perfect surface of the ice. Whatever's on the other side of the strange doorway, you feel it tugging at you. Only when you look back and see the parallel gashes trailing behind your legs in the snow do you realize how strong its pull is.
My end comes to all things in time. Seal the frost-hewn breach and instruct the pilgrims in the patience of Remergond.
Remergond? Plug the hole in a handful of snow. You fill your hand with snow and shove it into the crack. It hardens instantly, and a hoary rime grows over the smooth surface of the frozen doorway, fusing it with the rest of the wall. When you take your hand away, a perfect crystal of ice remains in your palm. As you examine the crystal, the vision around you fades, but the unmelting shard of ice remains in your hand. Okay, so we gotta take that thing into Noonfrost. Alright, well, we did pretty good with that one. But it probably means I'm gonna have to fight that thing.
I'm ready.
Well, Wodika, we definitely can't pray to Wodika. Pray to Galawain. Struggle is our fundamental nature? He's the god, Galawain's the god of the hunt and searching, so I guess struggle is our fundamental nature. Oh, I guessed wrong. That was the wrong words to say to him. Alright, so we gotta go stop those, whatever ritual those people in Noonfrost are doing. Hopefully I won't have to attack them, because I already did kind of attack them. So, alright, struggles in our fundamental nature, or... No, that's not. Survival begins with strength from within. The air around you stirs, and a gust of warm wind blows across the back of your neck. You catch the faintest smell of wet earth. As you kneel in front of the shrine, you feel yourself being pushed forward. You catch yourself on your hands and knees, feeling warm, damp ground beneath them. Looking around, you find yourself crouched in a clearing in the middle of the woods. The smell of dirt hangs heavy in the air. You feel certain this is a vision, but the hair on the nape of your neck still rise. Something leaps from the bushes. You find yourself pinned on your back and staring into the amber eyes of a massive hound. The beast looks at you. Gleaming fangs protrude from the side of its mouth. Its nose twitches as it inhales your scent, starting at your shoulder and proceeding down the length of your arm. You follow its nose to your hand, which is covered in blood. A tongue as red and meaty as a steak lolls out of its mouth and swipes your bloody hand. Its lips curl into what looks like a smile. The beast looks back at you, and as it fixes you with its glowing eyes, its muzzle retreats into a long bearded face, and its pointed ears lengthen, dropping to the side of its head. What was a massive hound becomes a giant of a man, his broad, muscled shoulders draped with furs. He holds a flint knife to your neck and grins, revealing a row of long, sharp, pointed teeth.
Tread carefully. Let my face be a warning sign to always treat Galawain and his messengers with caution and reverence.
The lioness reigns still, and soon her cubs will rise. Why did you strike the bear down?
Soul's Club will be mightier still one day. That legacy must be protected, even from a worthy contender.
Plans and calculations. These are your ways, are they not? Strength begets strength. The mighty seize an advantage in their jaws and do not let go. They shake and wring it, puncture its arteries with sharpened fangs. Blood whets their appetite.
The changeling throws his head back and closes his eyes, breathing deeply of the cool air. He lets out a howl that rings through the air. He lowers his head, puffs of steam rising from his panting mouth. Twigs crunch and branches snap. The ground shivers under the weight of pacing, prowling footsteps. A dozen beasts, bears, wolves, and long-fanged cats, stalk out of the undergrowth, their matching amber eyes fast on you. Such ferocity. Beasts that glory in bloodshed and destruction. What would an alliance with one such as him mean? As the beasts encircle you, their master rises to his feet. Even the largest of the bears can only reach his browned and muscle-knotted shoulders. You stand, mindful of the ring of predators surrounding you.
You sought and won the favor of Galawain.
Well,
What new
I already
prey
did a
do
job
you
for
now pursue?
I hunt
To
theirs.
track a quarry, you must understand its movements. And Theos follows the path of a more powerful master.
Okay, who does he work for? A warm breeze carries the smell of smoke and gunpowder. Sparks ignite and float in the draft, catching in the leaves over Galawain's head. A sudden blast of heat scalds your face, and even as you turn away, a flash of light sears your vision through your eyelids. When you look back, you see a woman in full plate standing next to Galawain. Her mirror-polished armor flickers with images of reflected flames. You can't see her face, but her voice is strong and clear like the ringing of steel.
Let him know his foe.
Oh, it's Magran. Yo, Durant? The whore breaks her silence at last. Have you missed me, Magran? You may have found other lovers, but surely none that was my equal. Magran says nothing in response. Indeed, she never even glances in Durant's direction. An involuntary tick causes the baggy skin beneath Durant's eyes to quiver. He says no more, and his ruddy skin blanched white.
Theos has trapped thousands of souls in sun and shadow like rabbits in a snare. Now, he goes there
works
to
for
retrieve the
Wodica.
kill for his master Wodica.
One of the bears paws at the ground in irritation, its hackles rising.
She will feast on them, suck their marrow, grow strong on their essence.
As the Stelgar watches you, it licks its lips, its tongue scraping long fangs. Why would Theos help Wodik?
Because he is her hound. He has always done
He's
her
been working
bidding.
for her for thousands of years. His eyes dart to another figure standing just behind Margaret.
Woodica stands for an old order. So does Theos.
A golem made of blackened, pitted iron steps out of Margaret's shadow. Its movements are slow yet precise, each footfall accompanied by the groaning and grinding of metal. The steady orange glow of furnace coals emanates from its eye sockets.
They both fear change, and the Deerwood has changed much recently.
Abaddon.
People find answers not in the gods, but in animancy, the product of their own labors.
And why not? When they have learned that even a god can be killed.
Oh, that's true. Terence's eyes are wide. His beard is matted with sweat. Was that not as you commanded, my lady? We sought only to stoke your pride by bringing your vision to reality. Margaret stands still, unwavering. It is as though she had not heard him at all. Is she unable to hear him? What should I do about
Track
it?
Theos. Follow the trail he has left for you, and corner him in sun and shadow.
You must stop him before he empowers Woodica.
Am I caught in some kind of struggle between the gods?
And if you
like
do,
some kind of power
you will have a
struggle?
different decision to make.
Abaddon gives you an... Okay. Pallegina narrows her eyes. Experience with superior officers tells me this decision has a right and a wrong answer, as far as the lot of you are concerned.
Souls were ripped from the world, ripe and full and pulsing with essence. Scatter them like bones to a pack of dogs.
Why
Their essence will strengthen the souls of the Deerwood. Let the remains of the dead feed the survivors.
Why would I feed the lost soul's essence to the rest of the deer?
To breed strength. Power is born from the mixing of essence and blood.
The wolves snarl and snap.
What Theos did cannot be undone.
Yeah, right. He
Thousands of lives
prevented
have changed,
essence
and
from
thousands
going to...
more have ended because of his actions. But transformation gives purpose to trial.
And improvement is the goal of all Kith. Long lives, prosperous futures, stronger minds and bodies. Strengthening those who remain will help repair the damage that Theos has done to the Deerwood.
Okay, so I can use the essence that would have gone into those babies and use them to empower the people already living. Man, this universe has some weird laws. Alright.
And when you descend the pit to sun in shadow, you can count on our assistance to see you safely through. As I hope we can count on yours when you reach the bottom. There are many souls upon the burial isle that are sworn to serve us. They belong to you now, and they shall guide your descent.
Durance's face is grave. Beware the promises of a God Watcher. They are binding, but only in one direction. The beasts grow restless, pawing the ground and eyeing you with renewed interest. The bear sniffs at the ground next to your leg. One Stelgar skulks into the circle, its amber eyes glowing. Galawain hurls his knife between your feet, sinking it to its handle. He raises his empty hand.
Hunt him, mortal. And when you stop him, let the souls he has captured feed the Deerwood.
Strengthen the souls of those who remain. Prepare them to face the challenges that will follow. Pledge that you will do this, and we will grant you a power fit
Blessing
for
of
the
the gods sounds
finest
pretty
warrior
useful.
who ever lived.
Betray us, and my beast shall track you down. Our allegiance is not to be accepted and cast aside.
My friend, this is a most auspicious moment. The Lord of the Hunt has spoken to you without omission or riddles. Heed what he said about his beast seeking you out should you stray from the task. For it is not an empty promise.
I pledge now that I shall convert the captured souls into essence to strengthen the
The
deer.
bargain is struck, Watcher. Keep your part.
Galawain lunges for you and sinks a hatchet into your chest. You cry out, but the pain passes quickly. Energy and power seep into you through the wound, and when Galawain withdraws, the flesh knits again to contain something warm and pulsing with power. Galawain's boon. The vision vanishes in an instant, returning you to Tyr Averon. where burning candles replaced the glowing eyes of Galawain's beasts. Okay, talk to her about Wodaka.
What?
Let's see what happens.
What is it, Watcher?
Does what we learned about Wodaka trouble you?
It stinks of her. It is justice, but if her greater purpose was to think Margaret would fall prey to such deceit. And Aethys. Widewin had always claimed to be invading Deerwood to free it. What if it were true? What if he had come to stop Wodaka's plot before it began? Surely Aethys earned his death at Godhammer Citadel, but not for those reasons. Not to keep him silent. If such a thing has brought about this chaos.
Durrance tilts his head as if listening to an inner voice. Then he frowns, the frown deepening as he speaks.
Must we always be tools of gods? If Wodaka and Margaret, if they are the cause of this, the Hollowborn, if the purges were never necessary, if Aethys was fighting back,
then your Godhammer didn't save Deerwood.
So many lies. And Wodaka, perhaps she is the next god to fall beneath the Godhammer.
Would it have been better for you had you spared this knowledge?
I am glad to have walked this far with you, seen this truth.
Perhaps it is what I was meant to see, with a watcher's eyes. All these dances of words and intrigues, machines of men, twisted, ripping the souls of children. And by the gods, the goddess of justice, if I can end her like Aethys, Magran burned her once. One can do so again. She must answer no. Okay. Anyone with a shred of spirit seeks both justice and punishment. It burns in the heart of anyone who lives. All seek it. Well, if the world is not balanced, we'd all drown in the oceans, and the gods would not care. Margaret, she must be redeemed, and punishing Wodaka, that will serve. Margaret was allied with Wodaka. She tried to kill all the makers
Is
of the
this some
Godhammer.
final joke at my expense? To test my faith further? And why would you think that, Watcher?
The others who made the Godhammer, they all died, didn't they? That's why I saw their symbols fade from her
If
staff.
all you have are questions, then I have enough of those. She is a bitch of a goddess to be sure, but even a whore only goes so far in crossing those she serves.
You said you left Ashfall without telling anyone of your departure.
You answer a question with a question. Then why did I feel her disappointment at Halgot? Why were we shamed?
Because I think she tried to kill you there.
Kill me? She is a goddess. I still drink from her burning breasts, Watcher. If she wished me dead, she could trace me to my source and kill me.
In the dream of the Godhammer, your spirit looked blurred, indistinct in the light, as if it had been sheared from you. When we petitioned her, she didn't recognize you. You know it. Durrance turns from you for a moment. His face twists in thought, conflicting emotions running across his features. Finally, he turns to you, his face steady.
There's no proof, Watcher. I was a fool to think you could help me see any farther than I could.
If you don't trust me, then trust your staff. Admit that the other Godhammer builders are dead. Durrance turns to his staff, and for a moment you see his eyes burning, taking in the edges of the wood, the symbols inlaid there, the 11 faded circles.
They died in the blast, yes. The other 11. I was the only one to walk away. I thought we had wronged our goddess. That this was my trial, and if I could prove myself worthy of her! I should have known better. There is only one god of redemption, and I saw him ended.
As he studies the staff, you feel a wave of heat, a terrible energy rolling forth from it in waves. So much so it feels as if the Godhammer itself is alive in his hands. And past it, you hear a cry, like a child being born. And your eyes feel the flash of white, then 100 imagined shades of purple and white, streaming and circling into the howling of a storm. And beneath it, the grinding of some ancient machines of stone, rock, and metal, grinding and turning until all around you feels as if it's burning. sinking into the shadows of the earth, beneath the ground, the only place where a spirit might find refuge. Rayo, you just raging? Alright. We can see that justice is served. To her,
To think I served her, I followed her. Now I shall serve no one. Woodica's lies must be answered. And now it seems I must take fire in war from a goddess's false claim as well. I still take from her strength as I did, for as long as it lasts. For I shall not cast her aside yet, until I have drained her dry and had my fill, just as she intended for me. For I have learned one of the lessons of the faithful. The faithful may wound a goddess greater than any enemy. A purification is coming, and this fire shall consume them both. If doubts and curiosity plague you,
she have any allies?
some, shaped for hunt and war.
Abaddon the
Abaddon
Golem.
the Golem. Galawain and his beasts. The latter keeps us honest and awake.
Well, we just met all
The
three of
other
them, right?
makes the tools by which we punish those who are not.
Abaddon. Not surprised you haven't heard. More gods than weeds in a field, and those are the only ones of this lifetime. They come and go, but are always here at the same time. Abaddon used to look human. Durance grunts. Got killed. Then built a new body for himself. Transformation with Mogren's help. Perhaps she needed her own blacksmith to tend the fires. If so, Abaddon served it. He's a weapon, a tool, not a god, in my mind. Still, the people of Deerwood, the cities especially, hold him dear. So be it. Although if the reward for hard work and craftsmanship is a body like his, I'll keep my blood in my cock and hips to thrust it with. Also as a Galawain, Monster Father, the Great Hound. And as for monsters, this world is quite a bit. And not just the one on two legs. It's as if he's made monsters solely to hunt them, to remind men of their place. He's busy making more, I suspect. More monsters than sense. Variation upon variation. Huh. What do you mean? His aspects are a confusing bunch, and considering he respects reversals of fortune, especially in beasts, perhaps not so confusing. No reason why Mogren and he share a bed in my eyes, even if he does believe in the trial. A filthy Orland god in many ways, howling and mooling, perhaps like they do. They can keep their beasts. I'll take fire and weapons any day. Who are her enemies?
Before, when you asked about allies, well now, ally, enemy, that's a skin's edge of difference in history's eye. But there were enemies. Were.
Ithus. But we sorted that. Then Hylia, and her queen's crown of feathers and birds. He sneers. Perhaps she claims to have seen to see the world from her perch. Hope she saw what happened to Ithus, and if she dares to walk upon an earth where such fire runs. Her temples are things of windows and twittering music. If a bird falls, know that it's a victory. Seeing another set of darting eyes from that feather bitch die is a pleasure to me. You bear her a lot of rage. She and her clergy offer shelter to the Ithisian since his death. His humiliation. She's next for me. Okay, well. Trials of Durance. Okay, I got him to see the truth. Yay! Okay, how many more gods do we have to talk to?
At once.
I'm ready.
How many more? Hylia, right? Gotta go talk to Hylia. Pray to Hylia. Live every note of life song. Obviously, she's the music goddess. We're gonna go with that one. Your words seem to ring in the air. Your voice rendered melodic and lilting by some unseen art. You shut your eyes to pray. As you wait in darkness, the world around you changes. You feel sunlight, bright and warm, on your face. A light breeze carries music to your ears. As vivid as these sensations feel, you somehow know they are not real. You look around and find yourself standing in an open-air temple built on a mountain summit. It's filled with elves, orlands, and assorted other kith. Ringing the entire scene is a fringe of trees, their verdant branches filled with birds of all different colors, shapes, and sizes. A paradise for those who will waste their lives exploring the meaningless while corrupting the meaning of the real world. Oh, to set these trees ablaze, Watcher. Everyone is singularly absorbed in a particular pursuit. An Orland sits with a canvas, a paintbrush in his hands, and jars of green, blue, and yellow pigment at his feet. An elf and an Almawa standing to the side are locked in conversation, their expressions dancing into light. Still others scribble stanzas of poetry or crude sketches on sheets of paper, losing themselves in the delicate minutiae of lines and syllables. You feel the breeze again, and two elves basking in the sunlight shiver. The largest group gathers in the middle of the temple. They sing a lush, chaotic harmony, composed of several complementary melodies. Others drift towards the singers in one and twos, as if buffeted by a gust of wind or a phrase of the song. A ripple passes through the trees. Oh, it's the dragon. Yep, you think it's the wind, but the chirping changes to screeching. Hundreds of birds take to the skies, all headed in one direction. Away. Scotty raises her bow. Something must be coming. Yeah, this is the dragon that attacks the Hylia temple. The devotees glance at the trees, just barely distracted from their activities. But the wind picks up, scattering their pages of poetry and art, and ripping the songs from their lips. They look skyward, and you follow their gaze. A dark shape blots out the sun. You can't tell what it is, but as it unfolds and expands, it seems to fill the sky. The wind roars over the summit. Seldom a good sign. Before you can flee, a shadow falls over the temple. It begins as a stain in the corner and spreads, blotting out the flagstones. It reaches the nearest kith, a black-furred Orland. The darkness swallows her, leaving only a puff of smoke in her place. The two elves that you saw earlier, a man and a woman, flee. You get a brief image of them huddled in the shadow of the mountain. They seem to see you too, and they reach out, calling silently after you. The others, however, seem frozen. As the shadow advances, they likewise vanish one by one. The driving gale scatters their ashes, and the charred remains of their creations. The grieving mother holds her head. Songs of joy turn to screams of agony. What purpose, what lesson could possibly lie behind such destruction? You look up again at the source of the shadow, but the eclipsed sun forms a blinding corona around the thing. You can't make out any details. You can, however, feel the heat. Restore my temple. You look down and find yourself standing next to Hylia's shrine in Tir Everon. Your pulse still races, and your skin is damp with sweat from your strange encounter. Alright, so she won't talk to you until you fix her temple. Who's next? I did Rimmerguard. Well, I obviously can't commune with Wodika. She's the one I'm fighting against. So that leaves...
I'm ready.
Barif. Oh no. The hell? Pretty sure that's not. Alright, here we go. Pray to Barif. Wait. What is Barif's thing? Barif's is the reversal one, right? Oh, no, that's not it. Or is Barif the... Hold up. Is Barif the blacksmith? Hold up. There's just gotta be... I gotta have a book on him, right?
I'm ready.
Okay. There's... I gotta have a book on him somewhere. Okay. Here we go. Is there a Barif? Nope. There's gotta be something that lists all the Oh, here we go. Many faces of Barif. God of cycles. Oh, there it goes. There's life and death and life. Is he the... Did I destroy his cult?
I'm ready.
Is that what happened? Well, there's life and death and life. There's a rippling shift in the air around you, as if some unfelt wind has changed, bringing unexpected warmth. You feel the peculiar weight of an unseen presence and of eyes upon you. kneel and pray to Bareth. Even while your eyes are closed, you see a road that seems to stretch on forever. The stars wheel overhead in a clockwork rotation of constellations, disappearing over the horizon to your left, only to rise on your right. You try to make out the details on either side of the road, but your eyes can't seem to focus. One moment you think you see a meadow blanketed with mist, and another sheer canyon walls. For just an instant, you can even see waves lapping at the edges of the road. Were you not to step on the shifting landscape, you feel certain you would only end up back on the road. You know this is a vision, but the packed dirt feels firm underneath your feet, and the night air cool on your face. You are walking. Your feet seem to carry you forward of their own accord. Something looms ahead of you. As you get closer, you see two stone figures that look strangely familiar. The two faces of Cirono, what we call Bareth. She shudders slightly, her feathers ruffling as she peers at the figures with apprehension. You remember the door to Cleobon Relag and the two figures carved into the mountain next to it. One looks vaguely male and the other vaguely female. Only a thin layer of flesh covers their skeletal bodies, which twist to face the doorway between them. The doorway, however, is not what you saw in the ruins. It's a skull, gaping and jawless, and as you look on, its open mouth seems to grow. The arms of the two stone sculptures are swept toward the mouth, inviting you in. Yep, going in there. The road continues through the mall to another shifting landscape surrounded by stars. As you pass through it, you see an identical doorway. A dwarven man stands near it, unmoving. You turn and look behind you, only to see the skull gate you just passed facing you. An elven woman waits in her. Like the dwarf, she stands still. Alright, approach the man. You continue down the road towards him. He looks up as you approach, but you can't tell if he's looking at you or through you. His face is smooth but flaccid, as if the flesh had detached from the muscles underneath. As you look on, his face begins to change. Wrinkles crack at the corner of his eyes. His mouth sinks, carving deep lines from his nose to the corner of his lips. His jowls sag, and the loose flesh hangs like dough. He raises his cupped hands. They're covered in blood. He lifts them to his face and smears himself, from his newly creased forehead to the wattles of his neck. As he massages the dark, sticky fluid into his skin, the flesh wrinkles disappear. The hanging folds recede, and his flesh tightens, as if re-adhering to his skull. He lifts his head, and this time, you know he's looking at you. His renewed face looks like a mask, artificially smooth and still. Behind it, his black eyes are two hungry pits, yawning like the empty mouths of skulls. Come, make your sacrifice to the Ifnaknul. His body blocks the path. He extends a bloody hand towards you. Take this hand. Wait, that's the head druid of the Blood Sands, right? He's actually the god Bareth? You grab his hand, but his skin gives too easily on your grip. As you try to pull away, you hear a noise like dried canvas tearing. His skin splits, following a long seam that begins as his arm and stretches the length of his body. Blood gushes forth in such quantities that you can't imagine there was anything else in it. Sure enough, as the dwarf empties of blood, he collapses like a desiccated husk. The blood in the path gleams with 1,000 souls worth of essence. The essence evaporates, trailing shining filaments into the night sky. Only now that he is dead can you continue onward. The blood pools around your feet, and you look up and see the elven woman waiting further down the road. You approach her. You start towards her. There's something unusual about the way she stands. She's too still. As you get closer, you see that her legs taper into a slender trunk, and in place of her feet are gnarled, twisting roots. She lifts her face to an invisible sun. Her long golden hair is the color of autumn leaves, and as you look more closely, you realize that her head is actually covered with tendrils and vines sprouting brilliant yellow leaves. Each glimmers with the essence of an entire soul. She gives you a beatific smile. As you look on, the leaves slowly fall from her head and settle at her roots. They melt into the path beneath her, and almost immediately, new leaves sprout in the place of the old. She reaches towards you, still smiling as roots spring from her fingertips. Her outstretched arms bar the path. Come, graft your soul to the golden grove. Take her hand. Her roots twine around your fingers, and as they do, they grow rigid and cold. Her outstretched arm petrifies, and as a rough-strewn bark overtakes her flesh, she can only look on in horror. You break away from her brutal grasp. Her feet are rooted in place, but she twists and writhes as if trying to flee her own dying limb. The petrification reaches her shoulder and spreads down her body, freezing it in a painful arc. It creeps up her neck, and she throws her face skyward like a drowning swimmer. The grayness covers her face, freezing her gasp in stone. Now that she is still lifeless, you can continue past her. Am I supposed to destroy both of them? Only the golden leaves on her head remain untouched, and as you watch, they fall one by one to the path below. They shrivel as the shimmering essence fades from them. A voice echoes along the road, barely more than a whisper on a breeze. Return them to the wheel. You lift your gaze and see the skull gate ahead of you on that path. The candles of Tyr Evron wink through the open mouth. Okay, so Bareth wants me to kill these two people who have been cheating death for too long,
I'm ready.
right? The Dryad and the leader of the Blood Sands guy. I'm an hour 20 minutes.
understand.
Let's see if I can. What happens if I go to him and tell him Bareth wants to kill him? Golden Grove. How do I get there? Oh, there it is. Golden Grove's down there. Alright, let's go. Oh. No, there's more. Stop right there.
Stop right there.
Phantom
You're in
Soldier.
the wrong city, Inquisitor. Did you think you wouldn't be recognized here in your old home? I've seen your trials with my own eyes.
I've seen you light pyres with good people tied to them. People I've known many a year. He seizes you by the throat. Your airway tightens. Whether real or imagined, you cannot tell. They deserve your confession. He raises the point of his sword, holding it a hair's breadth from your eye.
Suros, what are you doing?
Startled, the soldier releases you immediately and turns to face the speaker, a woman in a plain wool tunic, fully a head shorter than he, but somehow seeming to tower over him. You have seen this woman's face before, but from afar, bloodied and burned as she lay stretched across an iron wheel. At the moment, it is marked only with concern.
An assassin sent by the Inquisition, my lady, daring to approach our camp.
If he is so poor an assassin as to approach an armed guard in daylight, I should have nothing to fear. I would hear what this man has to say. She stares him down until he can no longer face her. He turns away, sour-faced, watching you through sidelong glances, his knuckles white around the pommel of his sword.
Surely this is some trick of my mind. I did not expect to see you again.
Grand Inquisitor dispatched me here to spy on you. Are things that as desperate as that over there? I'd have never known. Hope your next assignment is more stimulating. Listening to my lectures is dull work for a spy. I hope there might be another reason, but you are here. That is good enough on its own. Oh yeah, because you picked the background you two share.
I would like for you to stay here in our camp as my guest.
My lady Ivara, I beg of you. This is an Inquisitor. This is a desperate attempt on your life. The only way it can succeed is if you allow it to.
This is a missionary, same as I was. Taught the wrong things as I was. If I can't have faith in one man's ability to reason, once he knows the truth...
Oh, you're counting on that. We're screwed.
What hope do we have?
Look at our current world state.
My lady, he admits being a spy.
That should make him less of a threat, wouldn't you agree? I have nothing to hide. All I see here is an opportunity to persuade someone who could help us. We have many former missionaries here. They are our most loyal, our most helpful. Many have died for us. These are not people we should be turning away. And if the Inquisition wants my life, they can have it. But they know as well as I do that my cause will not die with me. Come. We have much to talk about.
Alright, well, more parts of the paths unlocked.
I'm ready.
Let's see what, Alright, let's go to this Golden Grove. Bloodhound. Who the hell is Bloodhound?
Builder's wisdom to you.
The elf holds a chipped wooden pipe. The sweet smoke wafting from the bowl makes you dizzy. Welcome, Mr. Moore. I've got herbs and potions for sale. Looking for something to ease your travels? Or something to make them more interesting? Huh, Whiteleaf. I once ate a porcupine whole while smashed on Whiteleaf. I hear you can make certain poisons. She takes a deep draw on her pipe. Poisons? I only deal in tonics that heal and enlighten. She exhales a puff of smoke. Of course, many beneficial substances can be harmful when taken in great quantities. But that's just Huerta's way of keeping all things in balance. Really? What kind of substances? Oh, plenty. Concentrated Galawain, undistilled spider venom, rotten blood moss extract, cave coral mixed with scale bones. Okay. Concentrated Carol. Well, my friend Stelgar is dying. He wants to ease the creature's passing. Poor thing. Here, take this. It works slowly, but this will send him back to a cycle, kindly enough. Just see that it doesn't get misplaced. Half that dose would kill an ammo. Well, we just tricked someone into giving us poison easily enough, I guess. Alright, well, all are welcome to the goal. Alright, let's go talk to an elf with placid eyes. Nods in Greek. Welcome to Golden Grove, traveler.
Hail, Estramor.
You seek the wisdom of a herbalist, or seek simply to bask in Huerta's glory? Who leads your order? High Ovate Arona leads us. She sometimes journeys to Elmshore to renew her strength, however. She's there now with some of her closest followers, in fact. Arona is a mighty elm among us. She's lived for generations. There are none who understand the world as well as she, and we are fortunate to have her wisdom to answer our questions. Alright, what about Arona? Why, you must meet her for yourself. She is wise and kind, and she has led our order from the beginning. Yes, she walks among us and gives us freely of herself. That is what so many of us cherish about her. She is present among us in a way that the gods never are. Alright, tell me about the Golden Grove. We are the Ovits, druids, philosophers, and students of nature. We gather here to share our knowledge and celebration. Many travelers come to us for poultices and remedies. Bleda understands the cures and poisons of nature like no other. And what do you believe? We believe that knowledge is found in the earnest exploration of the natural world. She tilts her head. We do not, as some have said, oppose the gods. We simply believe that we have found a brighter, more peaceful path than devotion. Okay, so they're both... Ready. Okay, so both these groups are... They believe in something other than serving the gods.
I understand.
They're about exploring the natural world, Golden Grove, and the others are about sacrifice and blood magic. They're both just kind of cut out the gods. Okay. Let me just... I will save my thing. Let me save my thing. I'm pretty sure he's not gonna, you know, just give himself up, right? Well, I wonder what happens if you just tell him Barrow wants him dead. So Barrow is annoyed that these two have escaped the cycle of death and rebirth for so long that he wants you to return their souls to the wheel. Where is he? He's over here. No, so he's not Barrow. It was a Barrow gave me a hit list. Basically. Oh, Barrow believes it's time you pay your dues. Oh, do I have to kill him? Well, I guess that's it.
It was a sacrifice, and one willingly entered into. The survival of all things depends on
So who sacrificed
balance.
himself so you can
Give
keep
and
on
take.
living? According to Barrow, you haven't done much giving, Rusty. No. Okay. Alright. I guess I'll call it here. Thanks for watching, guys. See you next time.